Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Get Wealthy Wednesday. Our focus is to increase the knowledge of building generational wealth by speaking with industry leaders within our community. Let me get my face up on here. All right, there we go. How's everyone doing this evening? So tonight's episode is brought to you thanks to More Owned Businesses. Go to moreownedbusinesses.com where they promote products and services by Black-owned businesses, making it easier to build and support our community from within. Also, special thanks to Sanctuary. Um, uh, Check out the sanctuary.com where they provide the best essential oils and aromatherapy scents for all of your health and wellness needs. So tonight, I want to introduce tech extraordinaire Tavonia Evans. Hey, how you doing, Tavonia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know that there is, like I said, I mentioned before, we're on two different platforms. So we're on Periscope, which is Twitter Live or whatever, and then we're also on YouTube. So I know there's a lot of people who may not really know who you are. So I'm gonna give them a brief description, but then I want you to follow it up for all the stuff that I missed. So because I know a little bit about you, but that's like I know it's a lot more. So I'll just she's a tech genius guru. Like I said, she's in a lot of different spaces. She's on the front line of blockchain and crypto. She has her own social media platform. There's so much different things. I think she's just a beacon of knowledge in this tech space. So yeah, anything else that I left out or anything else you want to touch on?
That's pretty much it. I'm a mom.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it. I guess my name is Tavonia Evans. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was actually born in Long Island, though, raised in, Long Island and New York. I've been in Georgia for over 20 years. I've been in technology. I keep telling people I've been in technology for over 20 years, and I think I'm hitting 25 years.
Right.
But I'm calling on my age, so I still keep it at 20 years. That's the cutoff.
Yeah.
But I've been in technology for a pretty long time. Been in this game for a bit behind the keyboard, doing all things, technical. And then I've also been involved with the community for quite a long time, doing various things that I want to do to help my community. I feel my biggest contribution is through technology because that's what I do.
Right.
So I've been trying to do things to contribute.
Okay. All right. So what area do you mainly focus in?
That's hard. But when you're a startup founder, you tend to have to know everything and wear many hats, especially if you're a person of color, because funding is low and limited and you always got something to get done. And sometimes you're the only one that can do it. So you find yourself expanding into all different types of areas. I'm, of course, behind the scenes, technology wise, trying to create this ecosystem and, managing teams and stuff like that to help put together some things that I think are going to be beneficial to our community.
Right. So yeah, I think one great things that I know that you're working on is working into the crypto space.
Mm-hmm.
The Blackcoin. Can you tell us a little bit more about the crypto space that you're doing? I know you're on the front lines. I see you all over Twitter. Black Blockchain Summit. All different things I've seen you experience and just seeing you everywhere. So can you give us a little information about that?
Well, I started Blackcoin around 2017. I saw cryptocurrency as a way, definitely something that can meet the needs of our communities and solve a lot of problems. So I jumped on it almost immediately and began to putting together Blackcoin. And 3 years later, I'm still here at it. I've not given up. And we are building our community. We're growing at a steady rate. We're getting more support. And we're trying to figure out, lateral moves that'll help move this movement along, and then also still help, other people.
Right. That's great. Like I said, there's especially with Blackcoin. So I know, like I said, I know a little bit about Blackcoin and some of the things that are efforts that you're trying to go. So I think one thing that we really need to touch on is our community. In our community, lack of knowledge, or their maybe and I'm not using it in a bad way, but just ignorance all the way around about understanding about blockchain, understanding about crypto, understanding about Bitcoin, all of that, that whole area, and why it's so important. I think there's for us to start touching and going into different realms and explaining why Blackcoin and Bitcoin and those type of industries will be beneficial to us. I think we really need to understand, what it is and why.
Mm-hmm. I mean, years ago, when I first started, people were like, why do you need a black coin? Why would we need a black? It's not necessary. Why can't we just have Bitcoin? Why can't we just, now I think people are starting to understand why it's going to be necessary for us to have something that we build from, that we're a part of from the ground up. Even if other communities wind up using it, which is likely the case, we still need to be involved from the base level of building out this cryptocurrency, because it's very important that people see our faces. When you look at things like Bitcoin and you look at other coins, you don't see us. So normal people pretty much think this is a repeat of the same financial system, because you see the same people at the top. You see the same people benefiting. You know what I mean? And we're tired of those storylines of where we running to be the consumer, and we're running to be the engine that powers a lot of these other machines, and we're not able to power our own communities.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. It's, the last couple of episodes of Get Wealthy Wednesdays, I've been talking about Forex, I've been talking about stocks, and crypto is just like the next best thing to follow up those two topics.
Yeah.
Because it honestly gives us another leg up, another way to get into maybe areas that we haven't been in before.
Mm-hmm.
And Bitcoin, I think it is, I'll put it this way. Crypto is a game changer. I don't want to just keep saying Bitcoin, especially because I think Blackcoin is a game changer as well. I'm sure you can speak to it a lot more than I can, but I think that understanding just exactly what's really needed to maintain wealth within our community is pretty much what we really need to understand ourselves. We see the graphics, and it only stays in our community for like 20 minutes. It's something. It's something ridiculous.
Yes, very ridiculous.
So yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the ideas that we really need to start like pressing into our head, is to understand exactly what crypto is, why it's a game changer, and like I said, I think Blackcoin is going to be a real game changer for us as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than money. It's more than crypto. It's more of psychology. It's more of values, that we have to work on. People don't understand just the whole psychological aspect of it. You know what I mean? We need to have our hands in it. We need to be able to participate. We need to be able to see our faces behind the driving force. All of these things help us to build more value and to build legacies, and to have the desire to participate. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I just felt like that's something that's super duper important. And I was like, there's no reason why we couldn't do this. You know, other communities do this. There's no reason we couldn't do this. And technology and blockchain makes it a little bit more easier because blockchain gives us something to see more in a transparent manner. You know what I mean? We could see it functioning. We could see it growing. We could see transactions. That's powerful. You know what I mean? People of color, you know, they have to be able to see progress because we haven't seen progress. We've had initiatives where we want to do something. We want to support Black businesses. We don't get to see the numbers. We don't get to see the data. We don't get to see the progress behind that. You know, and we don't see the progress behind it, then we just don't believe it's happening. And if we don't believe it's happening, then we stop participating. You understand?
Yeah, and sometimes, like I said, sometimes we see these numbers, which I always think are skewed. You know, they say that we have $1.2 trillion. I'm like, if they're releasing that number, it's probably a lot more than that. And I think that that's something that we really need to tap into. You know, we talk about it all the time, but, you know, I think one of the issues that we have in our community is, you know, once we get out, we just, all the money goes out with us. You know,
yeah. And that the only reason that it flees us is because we're not creating institutions to, you know, contain it, to maintain it, for it to grow, for it to continue. And we don't see the value in it. But, you know, honestly, how much value are you going to see in something that has not honored you for so long, that you've not been a part of creating, or not just been in the behind the scenes conversations about it? So, you know, we feel a kind of way about it. It's a slavery. It's like, okay, it's a necessary evil. That's how we look at it. The dollar. You know, we need to be able to move beyond necessary evil and really own something and say that this is, you know, this is our thing. We created it and it works for us, and to feel that kind of way about it rather than feeling that it's a necessary evil.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like I said, we've kind of just been in this system and, you know, just been, you know, not necessarily a part of it.
Yes.
But, you know, type of kind of like bottom feeders.
Yeah.
You know, we get the crumbs. And you know, if we get the crumbs, you know.
Yes.
So I think Blackcoin and everything that you're trying to build, especially, you know, I think one of the other things that a lot of people don't understand is once you start getting into this crypto world, once you start understanding exactly what it is, it sets up a lot more opportunities for you. Because it is still, it's still a new technology for most. It's still catching on in a lot of places. I mean, you know, we've been in this space for a little bit, so we probably know, you know, it's been around for a while, but not widely accepted. You know, there's still coins, and people don't know the difference between stable coins, altcoins, all of that great stuff, right? So there's a lot of opportunities for us to learn. And I think that Blackcoin is not only, it gives that opportunity because now you're investing in something that you need to know a little bit more about. And it kind of pushes that person and pushes the individual to start learning exactly what this technology is, you know. And then, like I said, I mean, because if you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, a lot of us don't know what the dollar is. So, you know,
now see, that is something that cryptocurrency has revealed. How little we know about money in general. You know what I mean? That has blew that little elephant in the room sky high. How little we know about money, and that's the problem. We do know very little about money, and when you know little about money, then again, it doesn't do well for you. You know what I mean? It doesn't do well for us collectively because you're not knowing what this whole game is about, what money is about, where it comes from, how it's built, how you build value. And these are the things that cryptocurrency and blockchain can help teach you, because you're collectively now building value for something. You're seeing where it comes from. You're seeing that no, it's not dependent upon the price of gold, the price of silver, whatever. It's dependent upon your faith in it. You know what I mean? And how much you trust. Your faith and your trust in something is what it's dependent upon. And that's an aspect that we haven't, that's the elephant in the room we haven't talked about. You know what I mean? And that's having faith in a certain financial system. And when it's starting to tumble, then that's when your faith starts to break. You start to look for something else to shift your faith into.
Exactly. And do you think that everything that's going on with Corona and all of these things that's, they're just creating paper money, hey, we're going to print another couple of trillion, tomorrow, to try to push it into circulation. Do you think, these type of things that's happening all over the world, and especially in the U.S. economy, that, people are starting to look at crypto a little differently now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, everybody knows it's not a good thing to just give away a whole bunch of money that that you don't have. Right. Number one, everyone knows that by now. Right. I've been talking about years ago when I first started, I talked about the scenario in which we experienced hyperinflation, where we experience all of these things and people are like, oh no, that's not going to happen. But now look at it. Now we're on the verge of this very thing potentially happening. Right. What we're watching right now with the government is we seem to be watching a scenario of ride it till the wheels fall off and then let's roll in the new bike. Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there's never been a better opportunity for us to roll in our new bike and, see what could happen with this, because it's a great experiment. They're experimenting with everything right now that's going on. It's the great experiment, and experiments to me are like co-creating. So they're co-creating something new. Why can't we co-create something new? You know what I mean?
Right. And we see it in so many different platforms.
Right.
Where they actually, they dog it. They talk so bad about it. They say crypto is the devil. They demonize it so much. And then about 6 weeks later, they have their own, like, wait a minute, hold on.
That's the game.
What just happened here?
That's the game. That's how, that's the game. And that happens all across the board. People, there's been demonizing of crypto from within and from without. Even if you're in the crypto game, then you have other people who demonize other particular cryptocurrencies. And then it's just so much of a game. Right. But at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to create something that could be a thing. You know what I mean? It's an opportunity. That's all it is an opportunity. So if you're willing to take that opportunity and get together with some people and say, let's build this thing, let's grow this thing, that's a real powerful thing. And it's a real powerful unifying factor as well.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about community. Everything that we, community, family, everything boils back to those type of things. Because, once we start creating that village per se, and then we have, something that we can, we understand to have that exact same value. We have that value that we're assigning to, a particular, to Blackcoin or to anything that we're doing. So our services, our products, everything can be attributed to that. So, being able to exchange, goods and services for, monetary, or, in this case, for Blackcoin, I can see exactly how this would work. And, I think we've done it, in the past with something that we didn't understand. Like I said, everyone thought they knew how money works, and no one knows. No one knows exactly what that piece of paper in their pocket is, right? Or understands that, you may have said, you might have thought crypto was the devil. It's not real. I can't touch it. Well, you're not touching anything on your credit card.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going into a cashless society now. You go in stores, they're not accepting cash. Right. We're obviously moving into totally cashless. So again, that's yet another opportunity to do something different. Right. You know what I mean? While they're killing this dollar, we're birthing a new. you know? So, you know, that's how I see it. I'm like, this is your opportunity now. You know, let's wake up and do something.
Yeah, exactly. And there was I wanted to also touch on a few different things, especially as we're talking about community. I understand that you also created your own social media platform.
I did. I created a platform called New. What a lot of people don't know is like back in 2003, I had a social network. And at one point we had 30,000 members. It was called New World Order. I was a real geeky behind the scenes. I had two lives, double lives. I'm living the corporate life, but then I'm also living the, you know, tech life. And I thought it would be a great idea to create a network back then, and I did. Recently, and it was about maybe earlier this year, a friend of mine came to me and was like, remember, you know, New World Order? It's like, you know, you built it around the same time Facebook started. If you would have kept it up going, you know, then maybe it would be somewhere near Facebook.
Right.
And, you know, and I said, you know what? That is so true. And, you know, that as people of color, we tend to give up on our tech dreams like that. You know what I mean? We put things out and we don't keep consistent with it. And I said, you know what? We need another network. And this is a time because people are, you know, really kind of tired of traditional social media and not feeling like it's honoring you as a person of color, which is not. And that's been proven recently in the hearings, in the Facebook hearings. It definitely was proven that we're not being honored, that our data is being used against us, that they're creating viral campaigns using us to fuel them, and then we're not benefiting off of them, and then we're making things go viral and we don't even know if this thing is destructive to us or not. So all of those things are a problem, but all of this media, all of this manipulation happens on the advertising level and the you know, the way that these platforms are crafting and allowing people to advertise to us as well, that don't have our best interests at heart. Exactly. So that's a huge thing. And hearing all of that definitely like really kind of made me angry, especially about the election, about these campaigns. And then sometimes when I see these little viral things pop up that we do, that we don't know where it originated from, what their motive is, you know, that angers me too, because it's like, man, we be running with stuff and we don't know what agenda we're running with, and we're blowing out of proportion and we're making viral for these people. You know, so we're being used basically. And so we're being used on social media. We're already being financially used by corporations and et cetera. But now we're being used by data in social media. So that was a driving force behind New for me. And I'm like, the things that I know I can do, I do. You know what I mean? I kind of stay in my lane. And that's one of my lanes was community building, because I've been doing that for a while. So I was like, let's do it. You know, I don't know where it'll go. I'm hoping it'll grow. It's definitely not a cheap endeavor, because I've been playing around with servers for the past 2 months now, trying to configure some scalable solutions. And we're in the same predicament as Facebook started. Facebook didn't know what its lateral was going to be, where its money was going to come from. They just wanted to build a network. And that's kind of how I felt as well. I was like, I want to build a network. Plus, it also gives us a way that we can integrate GWAP. We can talk about using GWAP, you know, with the general community and uninterrupted by other social media, because you're not going to be talking about this type of thing on Facebook for long. You're not going to be talking about this type of thing on Instagram for long. So where are you going to go?
Right. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on as well. You know, what we experience on all these other social media platforms is a lot of censorship.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we want to get across, or maybe that we're trying to, you know, enlighten our community about, either gets censored, gets chopped up, screwed, you know, done whatever. You know, then there's a lot, you know, as you were saying, there's a lot more social engineering going on with some of the pop-up ads and everything else that you really don't know where it's originating in Russia or wherever it's coming from, right? All of these things that's been permeating other social platforms.
Right.
So at least this gives us another platform that we can kind of do us, right? And we can be ourselves and do a lot of other things, and talk to ourselves without
Right.
having that
I
problem with censorship.
mean, when we start running ads, our ads are going to be traditional. That's community members. If you have a business, if you have an event or something like that, we do want to run those kind of ads. But
Right.
we're not going to be running automated ads where people will come from anywhere and just put up an ad and target an audience. We're not going to be doing any of that.
Right. That's good. So I think we touched on most of the things I wanted to touch on. I wanted to thank you for coming here. Is there any other information that I've probably missed? Like I said, I know you have your hands in a. Oh, that's right. I wanted to ask about the guap coin in new. Now, I think that's one of the key features that I haven't seen on a lot of platforms before.
Yeah. So right now, when you upload a podcast, someone can tip you in guap.
Oh, wow.
Right. So when you set up your profile, we're going to put a tutorial video about that because there's a lot of tutorials we need to do to kind of show people how to do stuff. But when you upload a podcast, then you will be able to get people will be able to tip you in guap coin right now.
Okay.
And we're looking to expand that to full-fledged wallets within the system. So we're kind of rolling out things, as we can get them done. And right now we're in the midst on the guap side on guap pay, working on our merchant payment platform.
Okay.
So that's going to allow the API for other merchants to be able to integrate guap, as a payment option. So then we'll be able to integrate that into new as well. So, we can maybe have more marketplaces and stuff like that going on. So we're working on a lot of different things right now. And we try to work at our own pace so that we can, knock certain objectives out, get this done, so we can come out with a full-fledged ecosystem, because pretty soon the general public is going to come rushing in and they're going to need an ecosystem. They're going to need support. They're not going to be necessarily looking for the technology aspect of it. They're looking for the financial aspect of it and how to use it and spend it. So it's really important to have an ecosystem set up for them so that when they show up, they're not confused and dazed. And because I believe that's what happened back in 2017 when everybody was initially talking about cryptocurrency. They were putting a lot of the technology part in it and the financial part in it. And I think a lot of things got blurred and confused. You know what I mean? And people got confused because they're like, what is this blockchain? You know what I mean? And da-da-da-da-da. But your 85-year-old grandmother doesn't really need to know about blockchain. She just needs to know about what this cryptocurrency can do and how she can spend it, etc. So I'm being a mom and being a grassroots person. I feel like, and I am a techie, but I feel like I'm more concerned with the usability of just the average person. Because my grandmother's 96 years old and she knows about guap, and I can go to her and have a conversation with her about guap coin. So, and it's not about the technology. It's about the usage of it. She wants to be able to see Black folks use their own money and spend in their own community. She wants to live to see that. You know what I mean? So that's an exciting thing. It's like almost like when Obama became president, there was a lot of elderly people said they was waiting to live to see the day that a Black man was president. So I think that a lot of people are waiting to live to see the day that there is a Black dollar circulating in the community. I just think that's huge.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I want to be. I guess the understanding of having that POS system, just readily available for amongst our community would be that would be.
It would be beautiful. It's like just going in a store and spending something that that you're a part of and that is a part of you. It's so beautiful. Like it's just mind-bogglingly beautiful. And a lot of people, some people don't think that we can do it, but I happen to believe in us. I happen to think that we can.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about value. You know,
we have
all about value.
We have to work on our values. And I think that right now, because everything is being stripped away in different layers, people are understanding that and they're wanting to build up their values. They're wanting to build something for the future. They're like, we got to make some changes. We can't be stuck in these predicaments where we're sitting here looking with our hands out. What are you going to do for us when we're perfectly capable of doing some things for ourselves?
Exactly. And I think that's very key. Is stressing that to our community to say, hey, look, we need to make some changes. What you were doing before wasn't working.
We're very industrious and we're hella smart. And I'm so tired of it. I grew up in tech around so many smart people. You know what I mean? Male, female, whoever. So many smart people I came up with. You know what I mean? And I think that the pain comes from knowing that you're so smart and you have these solutions, but you don't have the money, the funding to put it out, or you don't have the support to put it out. It's so heart-wrenching. You know what I mean? So it's like we got to move past that because we got some incredibly intelligent people, like super intelligent, super creative.
And like you said, sometimes we just don't stick with it. And it's probably because of funding. It might be
right. A huge issue we have, and something that I talk about a lot, is perfectionism. Sometimes we think that things have to be perfect. You know what I mean? And we look to, and this is even in a racial thing, we look to, white folks, whatever, to say what is the standard, what is the perfection standard, mind you, right? But when they innovate, they don't innovate to that standard. They innovate and they put things out and they build on it. And they let it grow. But that's something that we need to understand. You can't fall for what you see on the outside. You know what I mean? You got to understand that a lot of these companies have been functioning for a very long time. Look at Apple. Apple was a piece of crap out of a basement somewhere at one point, and now it's a trillion-dollar company with beautiful products. But it took some time to get there. It took some evolution to get there. But if you're not willing to put out the work in progress yet, then you ain't going to get to the beautiful product at the end.
Exactly. And it's like you said, it's sometimes you just have to stick with it. There's, like I said, sometimes we chase the dollar real quick. And sometimes our great ideas go to the competitor because we'll easily like sell out and say, okay, look, this is our idea, this is our patent, but I don't have the funding to be able to do it. So it might be assumed by someone else, and then and that's it. And having that community and build it upon it there. Sometimes we need to just kind of stick with it and support our own.
Yeah, I believe that. Maybe, sometimes we may have it a little harder, but the harder you have it, the bigger the reward at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely makes you strong.
Right. It makes you super strong. And it's like, you just got to get it out there. You got to put out a step one and let that step one grow. And you're going to have problems and you're going to have failures and you're going to pick yourself up, back up again and try again. And people will respect your endurance. And they will trust you because you're enduring, because they see you still rolling that wheel down the street. You know what I mean? And they know, and they will respect that. And I know that now. You know what I mean? That's not something that maybe I knew coming out the gate, what would be more important to people. But now I know that, it's very important that you stick it through and you not give up.
Right, exactly. And it's like I said, it'll pay out in the long run, even though it's, we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel always. We just have to kind of have faith.
Sometimes it's better to not see the light at the tunnel so you don't get blinded.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just keep pushing through.
Exactly. And like I said, it depends on us. It depends on creating that community, having trust in each other and having trust within the community to be able to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So that was, I think that's all I have for you. We have your contact information here. Is that the best way for us to get in contact with you?
Yes, I respond pretty much everywhere. Twitter is probably the weakest response for me because I don't spend so much time on Twitter. So I tend to miss messages in that box, but I do answer my messages in Instagram.
Okay.
So you can get directly in contact with me if you have any questions. I try to answer questions. Sometimes they get very complicated. People actually want a whole, lesson on crypto. And when I first got in here, that's what I used to do. Like I first used to give like long lessons on stuff on the phone or online. But it's definitely getting to a point where that's a little bit more impossible now.
Right.
But I can answer your base questions. I'm here, and I give out my phone number. People know that. Like people have my personal email address. I'm very accessible.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's especially for all the stuff that you do. I know you're super busy. You have so much stuff on your plate right now. So to be able to reach out and touch.
I'm very grateful. People are very patient with me and very good to me. We got a lot of good people. And I think a part of it too, when we're startups and we're getting out of here, we're afraid, of the customers. We're like afraid of the clients. They're gonna come after us when something goes wrong. But that's not the case. The 90% of people are very, very good and very, very, very just noble with you. You know what I mean? And very patient. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I mean, like I said, when you're approachable and everything it makes it a lot easier for the client to be able to attach themselves to you and just say, okay, look, or feel like they can understand you and back you a little bit more. So I think that's pretty great. So like I said, thank you for being here, taking time to talk with us, taking time out of your busy schedule. And just being able to talk to us about crypto, talk to us about community, and how everything is, especially in your world, is kind of like intermingling. It's all together. You're doing a lot of different things to upbuild the community, and I mean it's just a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you're doing. Like I said, just thank you for being here. Thank you for all that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, no problem. And hopefully we can have you on again, probably to talk more about more about guap. Like I said, I know there's so much stuff going on with guap because I follow you, so I see a lot of stuff going on and whatever. So I just know that whole everything is building nicely. So it's so much to it. So I definitely want to talk to you more about that, especially when we, we're in like marketplaces and all that stuff is set up, because I do work with more owned businesses as well. So that is, an entire community of,
Awesome.
So I want to be able to, help everyone, understand exactly what it is and how we can keep the black dollar in the black community.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate everything for being on here. Thank you, all of you, for coming in and being with us on Get Wealthy Wednesday. Next week, we will have Natasha Lab. She is an insurance advisor, and she will be able to talk to us a little bit more about why we need to understand why insurance is important for us to build generational wealth and maintain generational wealth. So make sure you follow me on IG, new.network, YouTube, and Twitter, all at IMF Brandon. And if you have any other questions, make sure you go and check out my website, fredbrandon.info. So I will see you all later, and thanks again, Tavonia.
Thank you.
Thank you.